Alright, guys, it's May 1st, Denver, Colorado. We got probably 4 or 5 inches of snow. Still snowing. So, I got the day off, so I figured what better way to spend it than to do a little beer project. Um, First off, I'm drinking a Elevation Triple IPA. That's what they call it, from Renegade Brewing. It's a local little brewery here in town. I had it like 2 years ago, and it was really, they use a lot of Summit hops, 11% beer, and I think they really just use a lot of Summit, which I've only experienced it as really like garlicky, oniony. So that's what this beer is. It's super, lots of onion, garlic, dank beer. So it's pretty good, actually. They just started canning it, so I can get it locally here at the liquor store. But what we're doing today is making a yeast starter, but instead of using like a normal yeast that you would get, I will be harvesting from Russian River Supplication. It's a great sour beer. If you guys are into sour beers, and that one is distributed pretty well across the country. So basically what I do is I have just your basic starter. I'm actually doing it in this glass carboy, but you have to be really careful. You don't want to shock the glass at all with any kind of heat, high or low. So I'm just doing it really, really ramping up the temperature. I don't have any of my brewing equipment here. I'm at my wife's townhouse, so that's why I'm doing that. I don't really have anything. I don't have an Edelmeyer flask or anything, but I've done this about 2 months ago. I got this one right here going, and this is basically a starter, or a small beer, really, a small sour beer of this beer right here. It's from Cricket Stave. It's like probably one of the best sour breweries in the world, I'd say. But Oculus, it's super good sour beer. I have one more left. I had probably 4 or 5, but basically just took the dregs of that, pitched it in there, and I find that like in about a week it'll start kind of, at least on that one, it didn't do really anything, and then like day 4 or 5 it blew up. So what I'm gonna be doing is getting into brewing sours, and I like my sours like sour. The sour the better. So I'll be pitching dregs this yeast starter into like a 5 or 10 gallon batch. So just to see and let it age for a year. So it's kind of a waiting man's game. But yeah, so I figured I'd just check in for Homebrew Wednesday, and I will get some other shots of me just showing you how I go about pitching dregs. All right. Just poured the supplication into a glass here. I got probably, I don't know if you can see. I don't know. It's right up to about. It's right just above the label there for the amount of liquid I saved in there. Just the dregs. I didn't want to pour any into the glass, but give just a quick review on it. Really tart up front, and finishes like with kind of a, I don't really know, but I mean it's a really tart sour. So I like it. One thing I like to do when I drink sours is drink it with this is the second one for the day here, but drink it with something really bitter, like an IPA. Go back and forth. It seems to really accentuate the sour, and then accentuates the hops. So it's kind of like exact opposites on the scale. So I kind of like doing that, just sipping on two. But I've got that thing actually just reached a boil as I'm watching it. I don't have any star sand or anything here, so I've got to kind of heat treat everything. So I'm going to have to naturally just let this thing cool until it gets to the point that I can actually touch it. I'm not even going to move it off the stove or anything. I'm just going to flip it off, put some tin foil on the top, and then once it gets to a kind of a cool temp, I'm going to put it outside. But as I say that, show you something I bought the other day. It's a Downslope Distilling. They're here locally in Denver, and kind of stopped by this barrel store. If you guys live here in Denver, actually it's right next to Crooked Stave Brewery, which is like on Pecos and 44th-ish. Right next to Crooked Stave, their tap house, there's a barrel supply shop, where they just get wine barrels and bourbon barrels and all that. So I stopped by just on a whim because the door was open after I came back from Crooked Stave, and yeah, they had this bourbon barrel for $90. So it was kind of a rash decision, but I said, well, I kind of wanted to try it for a while, so I picked it up, and it had probably like just a couple ounces of bourbon still in there. So the guy told me, just keep the cap on it, and I did. And then about a week later, all the bourbon just got soaked into the oak. So I went and bought some more just bourbon and dumped it in there just to keep it moist, because I'm going to brew a really big stout or something like that to put in there. So I'll definitely have to film that. But all right, this is probably it. Just wanted to kind of post a little yeast culturing that I've been kind of working on. But yeah, basically just let this thing cool down and pitch the dregs in, and put an airlock on it and call it good. So all right, we'll see you guys later.